Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today, much as alluded to last time round, we're lumbering our way up towards Himmelschwacht. We don't really have any pressing business there. That's, of course, mainly just so we can bank some quality lumber for our Boyer's potential future pursuits. That said, it is, of course, quite a ways out there, so I sincerely doubt we'll actually reach Himmelschwacht by the end of this particular episode. Rather, we will use this as an excuse to wander a bit, I think. We'll pass through Thunberg and Eisengrab and then kind of detour through the meadows here, around this mountain range and then up towards Launstedt, where there is conveniently a taxidermist, something else we are currently in dire need of. And hopefully we'll hit some nice targets of opportunity in the process. You know, we still haven't encountered orcs. Though ultimately, of course, we will curve back around down towards Himmelschwacht and then probably back down towards the city-states. But that's well beyond anything we're actually doing today, so we'll just start moving and see what happens. Pretty quiet thus far. Signs of battle, but no recent tracks. And Thunberg. Nothing we really need here, but I'll at least have a quick peek around. Yeah, this isn't one of our trade good towns, so it's basically just a brief stopover until we unlock noble contracts. Oh, though, we do have an Oath Taker up for grabs. Outside our current price range, but that's not a bad high-end hire. From my understanding, they are essentially hedge knights, but without the baggage that usually comes attached, you know, since hedge knights themselves are essentially glorified bandits. They also come with unique high-end armor, which is a big part of their hiring cost. But, you know, all that aside, I think my current priority is actually to save 10,000 for the next wagon upgrade right now. I feel like we are in dire need of more inventory space. All those potions and parts are starting to stack up. We've got disappearing villagers and a one-skull contract. Bad for Eisengrab, but good for us. Especially with trade goods in the offing. Stuff we won't buy now, obviously, but that should come down to a much more reasonable price once we clear up their pesky monster problem. While you wait for Wigmar the Wise to explain what he needs your services for, you contemplate on how silent and eerie the settlement was when you first arrived. This place is cursed by the gods and haunted by unearthly beasts. We need your help, Sellsword. Follow the tracks and hunt down and kill the beasts that are preying upon us. We're not wealthy, but we all chipped in to pay for your services. 440 gold. Falls within the expected range for a one-skull. So, direwolves, Noxera, or Webnecked. I'm actually kind of hoping for Noxera. We could use the teeth. Ah, direwolves. Yeah, we'll take it. As the raiders patrol the nearby trade routes, they spy movement further down the road. They briefly falter, falling into bickering over whether it's a caravan or something more sinister. But the subsequent screams and howls make it clear that it is, in fact, both. The raiders rush to intervene. The hirsute brutes rush forward, one particularly massive, scarred beast, standing out from the rest. Bowman takes aim as it perches atop a nearby rise. Its shot flies true, blood pulsing over the matted fur of its chest. The rest of the raiders follow suit. An axe slicing a beast's muzzle. The caravaneers shuffle restlessly behind the raiders' lines. They hem and haw, uneager to engage, but promising to watch the raiders' backs. And snorting at their perceived cowardice, Diego the Peddler steps forward, cutting down one of the monsters before shooting them a pointed look. And perhaps shamed, the caravan guards on the north begin to circle. Rev joins them, a thrust of his pike catching another beast just below the chin. Of course, McLeod shouts. Their weak point is the neck. I think that's how all living creatures work, Cedrus utters. Please try to focus, people. And perhaps leave the science to us, Berlin proclaims, running another beast through. Though yes, if the opportunity presents itself, do try to strike them in the neck. It is a most efficacious stratagem. Well, look at that, Drakiith growls, lopping the head off a wounded wolf. Don't know what efficacious means, but it's damn effective. Focus, people, Bowman shouts, as caravan guards rush to reinforce the back line. Never stopped, Balin grunts, a hurled axe lopping off a wolf's ear. And Mark finds his mark. A twang of his crossbow, another beast falls. On the south, Tommy finds himself menaced. But rather than panic, he simply grabs his mace. A deft swing, and the beast staggers back, stunned. Rev runs another wounded wolf through. And Rassel catches the stunned beast on the south. A mighty swing, punctuated by the cracks of collapsing ribs. And with the pack all but broken, the raiders quickly advance, pressing the advantage. Lashing with blades, swinging with clubs. The caravan guards rush in. One beast tries to run, but a hurled axe lops its leg off in mid-stride. And Drakiith steps in a second later. Cleaver meets neck, and a head tumbles across the terrain. Now that's the kind of effication we want to see, he growls. That's not actually a Verlin begins, but quickly stops himself. Another almost whimsical whirl of Tommy's mace. And the beast on the back line falls. I guess going for the gut works too, McLeod admits, wiping his blade clean on a beast's matted fur. And Verlin simply sighs. Yes, an admirable display of efficacy. Well done. And then flashing the less academic of his brethren, a weary thumbs up. Having killed the foul creatures, you begin skinning and scalping them. Gruesome creatures require gruesome evidence. Your employer, Wigmar the Wise, might not believe your work here, otherwise. Nah, I don't think he's evidence enough to try to stiff us on the tab. When you step into Wigmar the Wise's room, he recoils almost instantly. What in the hells of the gods is in your hand, sellsword? You hold up the nape of a pelt, Black blood ropes out from the neck, then splatters the floor. One of the beasts you were looking for. If you need evidence of the rest, I've got those waiting outside. The man holds his hand up, staying you. One is sufficient for my belief. Very good work, Sellsword. Your pay will be with Steiner, a councilman you probably pass in the halls. He's got the ugly mug on him, and he'll be carrying the crowns as promised. The man takes another look at the beast, then slowly shakes his head. May the dead and their survivors find peace in the passing of those foul creatures. Well said. Ah, and of course it's nighttime. Let's pull random for the moment to give those cuts time to heal. We should really get Zarmal back in there too. Gotta get everyone up to at least level 7 before we hit that first crisis event. Speaking of which, random hits level 7, and I've got to say, I really had my doubts he'd make it. Still obviously on the lighter side as far as defense goes, but with Nimble banked, that definitely stacks some significant survivability. As much as that bear hat does fit him, we really should start considering something better. And then as for stats, we'll take the 2 in melee, we'll take the 3 in defense, which is nice, but still leaves him 7 points shy of where we really would have preferred to have him. And we'll bump his morale. Really need to get that up towards 60. That'll be especially important if we have an undead apocalypse looming. That said, not much else to do here at the moment, but I'm loath to leave before we load up on trade goods, so I guess we'll kill some time, give our guys a breather. Actually, you know what? If we're just sitting here twiddling our thumbs anyway, might as well put that time to practical use. I think Mart's come along far enough that we can toss him a potion. Namely, the Night King's Draft, which does sideline him for a couple of days, but also grants enhanced eye rods. This character's eyes have mutated to respond faster and more drastically to low-light environments. As a result, they have night vision nearly on par with their sight during the day. Also, let's get Citrus back in there too. We need him at level 6 to trigger that inventory upgrade. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, and for those who requested it, I forgot to highlight it back when we gave it to him, but Zarmal has elasticized sinew. This character's muscles have mutated and respond differently to movement impulses. It is much less fatiguing to interrupt or stop mid-motion as a consequence, making it much easier to recover from errant or blocked attacks. Yeah, I like that they change up the descriptions like that. You know, when you just have the potion, they give you sort of the snake oil salesman spiel. But then once you've consumed it, it sort of breaks the effects down more academically. Oh, okay. Well, man, Eisengrab just cannot catch a break, can it? Let's go unhold contract. I mean, we could probably take down some unholds even with the rookies. And we could use the hides. Prices are better than they were, but we could probably get an even better deal if we take care of the local unhold issue. You find Wigmar the Wise sitting at his desk, and seemingly in congress with half the village's farmers. They're hunched over scrolls and streaking lead prints over the papers, drawing up what looks like giants or fat men with horns. One man is doodling a stick figure farking another stick figure. Wigmar the Wise tosses you a more prescient page, upon which is the visage of a monster. These fine gentlemen tell me there's a giant afoot. I do not wish to doubt the concerns of my peers, and so I request your services, sellsword. The money's on the table. All you need to do is search the area around Eisengrab and find this beast. What say you? Well, my gut says no, but I see all the anatomists' heads nodding yes, so yeah, I guess we're doing it. That aside, we've got to keep pushing that envelope. No risk, no reward. And, no shortage of raiders or rank-and-file viewers ready to rush in and take their turn in the trenches once those before them fall. Which will never happen if I keep playing it safe, so to those who are about to die, etc., etc. Shoot, I was kind of hoping they'd try to go for the caravans, but that's fine. I'm sure we've got this. Yeah, this'll have to do. Let's get this done. Each unhold is enormous beyond measure. They're bewildered at the ants come to do battle with them. One scratches his head and blithely belches, freckling the company with bovine blood. They seem to recognize the steel of your drawn sword, though, and the flash of it wakes them from their satiated slumbers. After earth-shaking stomps of their feet, they stride forward to run you from the land, or into it. Slightly rough terrain. Hopefully we can find an advantageous perch. As the trolls trundle forward, the raiders quickly cast their gaze about, seeking out a better place to make their stand. Though really, wherever they go, these things can quickly turn that against us. Perching atop a cliff is practically asking to be thrown off of it. Bowman pops off a shot, his arrow sinking deep into an unhold's hide, as the raiders hastily rearrange their lines. The creature roars its fury, a sweep of its meaty, calloused hand, snapping the arrow off at the base, the head still embedded, but the shifting meat beneath, slowly sliding it out of place. Until finally the wound is completely healed, but for yet another unsightly scar. One of hundreds, if not thousands, upon its fearsome frame. Incensed by the arrow, the abominations advance. And Cetrus quickly rushes forward to block one off. The raiders had not yet gotten in position, but now their plans have clearly changed. Verlin circles wide, gesturing for Drakiith to follow. And Zarmal swings round on the north. Curved blade flashing, carving into the creature's leathery limbs. Arrow steps up behind, continuing to pester the beasts with stinging projectiles. Tommy rushes forward, an axe thudding into the first unhold's chest. And Diego advances on the north, tracing along the edge of a perilous precipice to block off a second beast's advance. whilst the third advances unhindered. Beady eyes drawn to the fluttering of the company banner. The raiders swiftly swarm their foes, individual swings, like the stings of pesky insects. Oof. A ham-fisted grab, and Setris is sent sailing over the first beast's shoulder. A swing of its other fist, and Tommy reels back, vision blurred, blood seeping from nose and ears. Diego tries to block another beast's advance, but suffers a similar fate, casually grabbed and hurled down a shallow slope. But the raiders are undeterred. They know to back down now is to condemn at least one or more of their own to a brutal demise. And so the assault continues. Strike after strike, piercing the swamp troll's skin. Oh. Sorry. The skin may seal, but the blood beneath is still lost. Littering the ground around the Unhold's mighty feet. Can we, shoot. No, I guess not. That would have actually been kind of fun if you could shield bash your allies. You know, just to forcibly push them out of the way. But no, I suppose there's actual perks for that sort of thing, which I have thus far stubbornly refused to take. I really should, though. The raiders duck beneath another unwieldy swing. A hammer fist blow clipping the edge of McLeod's shield. The Houndmaster grimaces, favoring fingers broken by the sheer weight of the impact. The beast in the center teeters, Rook gesturing for the raiders to focus their efforts. But then the last comes cascading back down the rise like a living landslide. Diego is stunned. Setris once again hurled away like a toy. Tommy continues awkwardly pinwheeling axes into the Unholds, one after another. Zarmal takes a moment to survey, then redoubles his efforts to drop the first. The beast is slow and sluggish now, scaled hide pared down to the bone. And finally, with the thud of one last arrow, the first of the mighty monsters falls, crashing to the grass with a thunderous impact. The second teetering, stumbling back, almost tripping over its corpse. Rook drives his pike deep into the second Unhold side. And with a final strike, Annie catches the beast in the temple. Dense bone cracks, something soft squelches, giving way. One eye ruptured, the other rolls back, as the rest of the raiders hesitantly push towards the third on the rise. They're swiftly met by more furious strikes. Verlin sent stumbling away. Diego catching a hammer fist on his shield, holding steady, but his ankle snaps twisted beneath him by the sheer force of impact. Tommy stumbles up the rise, woozy from his head wound, but still in the fight. And the raiders follow suit. Yeah, see, this is definitely a situation where rotate would come in handy. We'll probably pencil that in for Diego and Verlin both. I think we're just going to have to trust the RNG here. A gap appears in the Raiders' line. Diego stumbling on his bad leg as he seeks to withdraw. Merlin stabs the beast from the other side, trying to keep it distracted. As Diego, shield braced, successfully pulls away. And as he withdraws, the third and final unhold adopts an almost resigned expression. Its fists flail a few more times, but then as yet more raiders crowd around it, the fight fades from its eyes. Its arms hang heavy at its sides as the raiders swarm over it, hacking, stabbing, scrabbling for whatever purchase they can find in its increasingly piecemeal skin. And then, finally, a javelin sinks to half its length in its left eye socket. One last gurgling groan, and the final beast falls. Huh. You know what? That actually wasn't that bad. Aside from the misstep with Tommy, got him too close early on. That could have gone very badly. But otherwise, for the most part, injuries were largely contained to our rookies. The ghastly monsters put up a hell of a fight, but they were no match for the collective strength, smarts, and sheer balls of the RetconRaiders. You tell the men to take what trophies they can, and prepare for the arduous trek back to Wigmar the Wise. We're back. You have to root about the town for a while to find Wigmar the Wise, the man himself found kept up in his room by a young lass who hides beneath the sheets you caught them in. The mayor gets dressed with no hesitation as to his own nakedness. He pitches a coin toward the girl, then speaks to you. "Hi, Sellsword, I've been expecting you. Your reward, as promised." He gives you the satchel, but a coin slips free and runs between the floorboards. The man purses his lips for a moment, then runs back to the girl and snatches the coin out of her hands, and drops it in the satchel. Wow, rude. We'll just, get that back to her when he's not looking. Hey, and look at that. Our efforts paid off. Some salt for our wounds. Helps build metal. Might as well grab some tools while we're at it. And let's hit the pause button real quick. I'm going to rearrange our line, shuffle some gear, get us back into fighting shape. And we're back. Load not lightened, but fighting line more or less intact. Though we do still have some frayed edges that need time to heal. I will also say that while I did ultimately decide against doling out any potions, I am starting to get an idea of who I'm going to give some of these to. I think I'm just waiting for them to either get sidelined or hit a particular level. But that'll have to wait. We're already running on a skeleton crew at the moment. And we've got a long walk to Landswecht. Fingers crossed. Let's hope we find something good. We haven't, what have we not seen yet? We haven't seen the tree monsters. We haven't seen We haven't seen any orcs. Oh, snap. Speaking of which. Improvised shelter, that's... Yeah, that's pretty low end. Just some orc young. Still, we will happily take it. That's a potion we've yet to bank. As the raiders forge their way through the wooded wilderness, they stumble upon a peculiar camp. Too primitive for bandits, too crude for barbarians even. And as they draw closer still, it's Random who finally identifies this unknown threat. Orcs, he utters. Ah, that it is, the anatomist nod, oblivious to the wild man's pained expression. They rally the rest of the raiders, new target locked in their sights. And Random follows reluctantly behind. Their approach is largely uncontested. No traps, no safeguards. It's only once they come within eyeshot, close enough for the orcs to literally smell them on the wind, that the ruthless youth sluggishly roll from bedrolls. They smack their lips, stifling yawns, as they casually move in for more of their no doubt day-to-day carnage. A glimpse at the taut-stretched skins on the frame they pass, perhaps giving hint as to why they are so casual about these armed intruders in their midst. Young and inexperienced as they are, perhaps they have simply never encountered a human who could actually put up any significant fight. The raiders hold steady, awaiting their foes' approach. And approach they do, though the orc swagger slows some, as they don't spy the familiar expressions of fear normally featured on their frightened prey. Man, really wish we could have fit Pathfinder in. Just so many perks, so few slots to put them in. The orcs draw ever closer. An arrow finally finds its mark, shearing a shallow but bloody gash across an orc young's scalp. It shouts in anger. And despite his best efforts, Random flinches. That's all the sign of weakness the orcs need. They come crashing into the raiders' lines. Random and Drakiith stunned by the initial clash. The raiders try to rally, but another rushes in, stunning Verlin as well, driving Random to his knees. The orcs are emboldened. But a precise strike from Zarmal splits one's face, giving it fleeting pause. And he batters another, flail crunching into one side of its rib cage. Rook jabs past Random as he quavers, shearing off an ear. Bowman peppers the other with arrows, keeping it distracted. Trip jabs between broken ribs, breaking the first orc young. The orc beside it is bloodied by a hurled axe, but then abruptly deflates as a javelin runs it through. Two of the remaining orcs almost reflexively taking a half step back. But Ratzel smashes one skull open before it can turn to flee. Verlin glances sidelong at random, only now seeming to realize that something might be amiss with the company's wild man. Random flails with both arms, awkwardly battering the orc with his flail and pushing it back with his shield. Rev lunges forward, impaling an orc's hand. Cetra strides past Random, casually putting his blade through an orc's leg. And he beats one down on the north. Drakiith another. The rest of the raiders swing around, cutting off the last's avenues of escape. The greenskin beast panics, only now seeming to realize that all of its allies somehow lay dead. And that realization is the second to last thing to go through its head. The raiders stand victorious, with Cetris turning and offering a hand to help Random back to his feet. As for the anatomists, they pay it no heed, quickly obsessing over their latest elixir. The kineticist's draft. Feel the strength of an orc flow through your veins. Imbibing this draft will infuse even the meekest man's blows with the intense, destructive power of a hulking greenskin. Guaranteed. Might go ahead and toss that one to Rassel. I think his pole mace is actually 120% effective versus armor, though he did also just pull this head chopper. Sadly, I don't think we have anyone who's really well suited to wield it, though. And level up for Rev, which actually brings up an interesting question, which is, now that we're down to our last 4 perks, what are we actually going to give him? My original plan was to go Berserk and Killing Frenzy for offense with Overwhelm and Fearsome for support. However, our more recent fights have kind of highlighted why that might not be the best idea. Both because Rev, of course, has struggled a bit with fatigue, an issue which Rook isn't too far behind him on. So if we are going to go Berserk, then Recover is probably an almost mandatory investment. But then, as we saw during that Geist fight, I've also woefully underestimated how much Resolve we need. I thought we could coast without Fortified Mind, but at this point I am taking a step back to reconsider. Fearsome scales off Resolve, so between that and Overwhelm, Fearsome feels like the safer bet. That aside, Overwhelm is of more inherently limited use when you're only making 1 strike per turn, which I suppose also really brings into question whether Killing Frenzy is worth taking either, since even under the best circumstances we would at most be getting 2 strikes, and that's only if his first strike were to land a kill. But I am curious to hear what you guys might think, so, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I'll sit on that perk point for now. But this is much more straightforward. We'll take the melee, we'll take the defense. We'll take the morale, or resolve rather. That said, let's push on. We'll pause if we spy another location, but otherwise we'll see if we can get all the way out to Landstat before we call it. The strange concoctions King's Rook the Anatomist has been making are strange concoctions that he has also been drinking. Unsurprisingly, the effects have not been good. Rashes, infections, smells, hair falling out, and more. While on the outside he proclaims that what he is doing is in the name of science, You can tell that all these maladies and disfigurations are debilitating to the man's morale. You can only hope he gets better with time. I mean, I'm not seeing any actual negative effects listed, so... Yeah, he's fine. Weird. I feel like they may have forgotten to perhaps add a mood modifier on there, but I am certainly not complaining. Straight shot back to Landstat. Though I will say I'm a little disappointed we didn't find another orc base. Would have been nice to bank a berserker potion, possibly even a warrior potion. I think they have something separate. Though those might have been a bit much for our current crew. 2 contracts in offing. No settlement conditions. Let's go ahead and give these a quick peek, see what we might potentially be in for next time. Ah, 1 skull caravan run. To Oberberg, a day north. Not quite along the way, but we'll go ahead and bank that just in case. What about the other one? Right, delivery run. 2 skull delivery to Helvik. I think that's right next to Oberberg. 500 gold. That kind of implies there might be a twist. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Let me bank that for a sec. Get a gander at the map. Yeah, okay, so there's Oberberg. And there's Helvik northwest of it. Okay, I was thinking Damwald. Oberberg is actually off to the northeast. Helvik is to north. Which are both in the exact opposite direction of where we want to go. But, You know what? I don't actually have to rush into a decision. We're stuck here till morning anyway. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I will set up camp, wait till morning, take care of some general inventory management, hit up the taxidermist, and we will pick up here next time. As regardless of which way we go, we continue to push our luck. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.